Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. Today's video is going to be about boo-boo kits versus trauma kits. When it comes to pre-hospital care or taking care of medical problems on your own, you can have a couple different kits to address those issues. Number one being a boo-boo kit. A boo-boo kit is basically just a regular first aid kit. Something that you can go down to Walmart and just buy a first aid box, and it's going to have some very basic things in there. Things like Band-Aids, some little small gauze pads or bandages, bandage wrap, maybe some medical tape in there, some little ointments like triple antibiotic, some antihistamine type of ointments for like stings and stuff like that, little alcohol and iodine prep pads, one of those instant cold packs, triangular bandage, little things like that, little basic stuff that's going to take care of most of your general medical problems that you will run into around the house. You know, you were cutting onions or peppers or something and you nicked the end of your finger. A boo-boo kit is going to address that little boo-boo. Trauma kits are things that are kits with items in them that are going to be treating very serious injuries that could lead to death if you don't do anything about it. Trauma kits traditionally don't hold little Band-Aids in there. They don't have little instant ice packs in there or triple antibiotic ointments in there or little things like that. They have things like tourniquets, pressure dressings, chest seals, nasopharyngeal airways. The most critical things to be able to treat a person before ever getting to a hospital to increase their chances of survival. Boo-boo kits, as I said earlier, can be bought anywhere. You can go down to Walmart and get just a very basic of basic first aid kit, something with Band-Aids in there. You can find these on Amazon, whatever. Trauma kits are going to vary where you can get them at. You may be able to find something like a trauma kit at a sporting goods store. I do know there are some commercial versions of Quick Clot and things like that you can get. And some of the terminology for trauma kits is going to vary, so you may hear things like IFAK, IFAK, can stand for Individual First Aid Kit, or some sources show that it stands for Improvised or Improved, rather, First Aid Kit. You'll hear people refer to it as a self-aid kit, a trauma kit, a blowout kit, a VOC, which a VOK stands for Ventilated Operator Kit, or you may hear just someone refer to it as a med kit. The components in there are going to be things that are going to address the three things that are most likely to cause death from a gunfight. And these three things have been learned over years and years of warfare. We've gotten, when you look at pre-hospital care, the birth of it, as far as what we see in modern age, really came from the 70s. Anything before that, yeah, you know, people were doing little things here and there, but as far as technology and streamlining stuff and trying to create standards and everything, it was really the 70s when EMS stuff came about, and that's when you start seeing a change in medical care for warfare. And then beyond that, it's gotten better. The United States has a really good baseline, so to speak, on being able to provide medical care. There's a U.S. standard of medical care, and what we've learned over the years is there's three things that are the three top killers when it comes to warfare, fighting, gunfighting, whatever. Extremity hemorrhaging, tension pneumothorax, and airway obstruction. Those are the three critical things. And our trauma kits are going to reflect those 3 critical things. So, or blowout kit, VOC, whatever. If we are going to be treating those 3 critical things, well, then we can contain those pieces of equipment into something of this size, or even this size. Anything extra, then your kit basically becomes a BLS kit, a basic life support kit, which would have your most critical things in there, plus all your basic first aid stuff as well, band-aids, just regular bandages, etc. So at the very base, or very bare minimum, a IFAC, trauma kit, whatever, that's going to be treating the extremity hemorrhaging, tension pneumothorax, and airway obstruction is going to be something of this size and contains just those items. So for example, this right here. And here we have a tourniquet for addressing extremity hemorrhaging. There's some gauze in here to again address some more hemorrhaging issues, a pressure dressing, nasopharyngeal airways, and an oral airway adjunct to address any airway issues, and of course some shears to remove any clothing. This will treat your top 3 killers. And you may see various different styles of tourniquets, or you may see other items added in, like hyphen chest seals or some other chest seal. And you may see some kits that have a little bit less. For example, I do not recall the exact brand name of it, but this particular kit right here comes in a package, and it has a roll of duct tape in there. It's got H&H compressed bandage in there, a TK4 tourniquet, gloves, a decompression needle, and maybe something else. The bag, when brand new and wasn't all torn up from years of carrying in the pocket, the bag itself could serve as an occlusive dressing for a sucking chest wound. Now it's kind of beat up and has holes in it. It wouldn't be a great choice, but with the roll of duct tape in there, you could make an occlusive chest seal for a sucking chest wound to mitigate an open pneumothorax. So your trauma kits, blowout kits, whatever, can come in varying sizes. You can buy these online at various sources. But when you do go to buy, you'll want to research the components that are in there, because there are some places that will have different components in there. So you may think it may have something in there, but you really need to look at the packing list and see what exactly is in there. Here's another product called a VOC, Ventilated Operator Kit. This one and the last one I just showed that was in here, both of these came from Tactical Response Gear out of Tactical Response in Camden, Tennessee. This particular kit right here has a TK4 tourniquet, gloves, duct tape, pressure dressing, I want to say a nasal pharyngeal airway, some compressed gauze if I didn't say that already, and it's got a needle in there as well. So something like this could very easily fit in a cargo pocket, or you can just throw this in the glove compartment of your vehicle. Something like this that I just showed that was in there could very easily fit in your pant pocket, or it very nicely fits inside this little medical ankle holster that you can wear around your ankle all day. At a bare minimum, I believe that if you're going to be carrying a gun, you should have a trauma kit on you. If you have the means to induce trauma, well then you should have the means to reduce trauma. If you're carrying a gun for self-defense, whether you're just a regular Joe concealed carrier, you're a police officer, you're a security guard, whatever, if you have a gun, even if you don't have a gun, you should still have medical equipment either on you or near you or accessible to you. For example, in your car. If you carry a gun for a living, whether it's for your job or it's your personal choice to carry a gun all the time, then you realize the fact that the reason why you're carrying that gun is because there's bad people who could try to harm you. So by that virtue, carrying a gun means that you could be involved in a gunfight. If you're going to potentially be involved in a gunfight, then the possibility exists that you could be shot. If you could be shot, then you need to be able to care for yourself. A tourniquet to stop extremity bleeding. Compressed gauze to pack a wound. If you're with your loved ones, if you have a work partner and one of them gets shot or stabbed, you should have the means to be able to render aid to them. I cannot think of any EMS agency out there that gives their medics guns so that they can go and respond to all calls and not have to wait for the police to secure the scene. Now granted, there are some EMS agencies out there that have a few select paramedics who train with the local police SWAT team, and then those medics will of course go with that SWAT team when they're out and they could be armed. But on any other regular day, any other regular shift where they're on an ambulance, I cannot think of any ambulance service in the United States that lets all their medics, EMTs, ambulance drivers, whatever you want to call them, let them carry guns. And because of that, when there is a dangerous scene, there's been shots fired or something like that, the ambulance is not going to be coming straight to that scene until the police radio into the dispatch and say the scene is clear. The ambulance is always going to stage at a safe distance away. You may be able to see the lights of the ambulance several blocks away, just sitting there. But they're not going to come to you until those police officers on that scene radio into dispatch and say the scene's clear and for them to be able to move up. If that's going to happen, you're going to be waiting for an X amount of time for them to get to you. Even if they had a really great response time, from their station to your general area took them 2 minutes. Well, if the scene is not clear, just because they were able to get there in 2 minutes, if they're still having to wait until the scene is cleared, that could be another 10 minutes. That could be another 15 minutes. You don't know how long it's going to take for that scene to be cleared. You don't even know how long it's going to take for the police to show up. You might have an ambulance that shows up in 2 minutes, but the sheriff's office, because they only got 3 deputies working at night, all 3 of them on the other half of the county dealing with the meth case, and now they're running code to your house on the south end of the county, and they're 20 minutes away, even going fast with lights and siren. There have been numerous people who have bled to death waiting on the ambulance. There have been numerous people who have bled to death waiting on the ambulance that was waiting in the staging area, waiting for the police to say it was clear for them to move in. When you look at large cases of active killers, say for example Pulse nightclub, of all the people who were found dead in that nightclub, there was a number of them who had survivable wounds. And they could have survived if someone had got to them and provided some type of medical aid to them. Your very classic case, Columbine High School. Of some of the people who died there, they had survivable wounds. They could have survived. One of the teachers who saved some kids from the two killers there, he was shot, and him and a few kids were barricaded in a classroom. They were in there for hours. The teacher was alive after being shot, but he slowly bled to death in front of those kids, and there was no medical gear there. They had no idea what to do. So I believe that it is imperative that you should have medical equipment and the knowledge on how to do it. I'll even go so far as to say that even if you don't have any knowledge on how to use medical equipment, it would probably still be in your benefit to get some medical equipment to keep in the car. Let's say, for example, you had something like this little BLS bag that you can get from Gauls. You can keep in the trunk of the car. Even if you don't know how to use a stethoscope that would be in here, or a blood pressure cuff, even if you don't know how to use that stuff, someone else who might be on that interstate who stopped to help with that car accident, they might know how to use that stuff. Just because you don't know how to stop bleeding, apply pressure, and wrap bandages and stuff like that, even if you don't really have a full understanding of what you're doing, there could be a nurse who was on their way to work and they decided to stop and help with this car wreck, or the opposite. They're leaving work, heading home, and they don't carry any stuff from work with them, but you decide to stop and help, and you've got this bag, and well, there's this other person who knows how to use some of that stuff in there. That's a win-win. The medical gear can be found in many places. The internet makes it easy to find this stuff. Some of the stuff's pretty cheap. Some of it can be, in some people's eyes, a little expensive, but what's more expensive? Just 30, 40 bucks of carrying gear and the gear that goes inside of it, or your life? Like, which is more important to you? If you're going to sit there and pinch pennies over things that can save your life, then I don't know what to say to you to convince you otherwise, or change your mindset. But your mindset needs to change. You need to have the means to be able to save your life and save your family's life and loved ones' lives. If you have any questions or comments about booboo kits or trauma kits, go ahead and leave them down in the comment section. You can send me a message if you want, but I always encourage people to leave them down in the comment section. There's no such thing as a stupid question, in my opinion. We're going to have some more videos out there looking at some more of the detailed individual components within trauma kits. I'll be examining tourniquets and things like that and showing you differences in different ones. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.